Hey friends, it's Kev. Important episode today. I'm talking with Sam Woods about ChatGPT, OpenAI, all the capabilities with machine learning for writing sales copy. This has been a very hot topic in our industry. And of course, there are a number of overnight experts parachuting down in their special forces Halloween costumes to save the day and explain to everybody how to use machine learning tools to write copy. Look, everybody is a little surprised at how quickly this has emerged. It did not come out of nowhere, as you probably know. I've been saying for 3 years now in my public trainings that the robots are here, that customers love them, and that now is the time to specialize and understand how to use the technology to make what we do as creatives even more powerful. It helps us be better, faster, stronger, and most importantly, relevant to the industry. There's a very clear line in the sand right now. You can't treat this as a trend or a someday problem. Someday is now. And so I reached out to Sam because he is someone I've known for a good number of years. Sam has been in my mastermind, my coaching programs, a longtime member of Copy Chief. And Sam has been ringing this bell for longer than anybody I know. He's been using OpenAI to write his creative copy, to do his research into the market, into the minds of the customer, to aggregate the common problems and pain points. He understands how to take what something like ChatGPT gives you and vet it for accuracy, how to find the sources, to make sure that you're not just trusting a machine to, essentially write parts of your copy, but you're working with it collaboratively. This is the key here. These are the greatest creative collaborators we can have when we know how to use them. And again, Sam's been doing this since 2019. He has become the guy quietly in the industry that people go to train their teams, to educate them on how to use these tools. He's been brought in by companies like Samcart, like Alex Hermosi's company, have flown him into their headquarters to sit and train their copy and creative teams on how to use these tools, not so that they could replace them, but so that they could make them better, stronger, faster, and stay ahead of the game. And now Sam is offering to teach those same things on a special live training that he's doing on January 10th. You can go to copychief.com/creative machine to get Sam's training. There is a fee. I will get a commission if you buy through that link. As part of that, I am doing a special bonus training with Sam a few weeks after that I'm calling Creative Machine, because I'm going to show you my entire advanced copy creation blueprint. It's about 9 different stages of writing an ad. This works great for long form copy, Facebook ads, email, campaigns, everything. And these are the critical steps to making sure your copy is bulletproof. But now it's all that more powerful because together Sam and I are going to show you how to use a tool like ChatGPT to collaborate with you while you're writing each section of the copy. Okay, so first you want to attend Sam's training and get caught up to his learning, his processes for how to use AI to make you a better copywriter. And then Sam and I are holding a special bonus training where I will walk you through all 9 stages of creating an ad campaign, and we'll show you where you can collaborate with a tool like ChatGPT to make it better and write it faster than you ever imagined. Again, the link is copychief.com/creative machine. That's where you can buy Sam's training through my link. And only if you buy it through that link will you get access to the bonus free training where Sam and I will walk you through the advanced copy creation blueprint and show you exactly how to use AI to write it better. So for now, here's my interview with Sam, where we talk about his evolution using this tool as a copywriter, as a marketer, as a consultant, and what it can do and can't do now, and what GTP4 is going to look like in the very near future. This will come out in 2023. I've heard anywhere from February all the way to the fall. But regardless, if you get ahead of it now, it'll be an exciting day when the next generation of this arrives, and not an even scarier day. So let's put the hype and the panic aside, and let's get educated, and let's get strong together. Enjoy the show. Welcome to Copy Chief Radio. Today's show is a new breed episode where today's most innovative marketing and copywriting stars share their most effective methods for optimizing results in the fast-changing world of direct response marketing. To check out all the Copy Chief Radio episode types, go to copychief.com/CCR. Hey friends, thanks for being here. I am with Sam Woods, my longtime friend. Sam is very popular these days because in the world of copywriting and marketing, because as you know, all the talk has been around OpenAI, ChatGPT, robots writing copy. Where does that begin and end when it comes to us human copywriters? Are we going to have jobs? Is the industry going to be completely replaced by tech? There's a bit of panic. There's a lot of questions. And very quickly, though, the thing that I like that I'm seeing and what has been my experience is people are starting to understand what a powerful tool this can be as an aid, as a collaborator is how I'm thinking of ChatGPT right now. Sam Woods here has been using this tool for years and understanding it and writing with it and, putting that copy, that content out into the world and testing the results it gets. And so as far as I know, Sam is about the most advanced copywriter to be using this tool open-mindedly and testing the results for the longest. So Sam, appreciate you jumping in on here to take on this hot topic. Let's just start with how did it come into your life and how did you start using it first?
Kevin, thanks so much for having me. It's good to be talking to you. So it's interesting. I've been a copywriter and online marketer with an agency and so on for about 10 years. Early on in my career, so to speak, I ended up working with larger companies, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000, and just larger enterprise companies. And I quickly realized that they had access to, just because they had the money, they had the expertise, they had the team size, they had access to a ton of advanced marketing tools, stuff that just smaller businesses just don't have access to because it costs too much and it's too complicated. And in about 2016, 2017, even earlier than that, probably 2015, on the analytics side, these companies had very, very advanced analytic tools that were big data related, data crunching, data munching. It was very high tech, very complicated. They had data scientists on their team that just, I don't know what they do every day, but they do something with numbers. So as I was working with them and these marketing teams, pretty early on, these teams started sharing internal tools with me, and the tools were crude, but they could generate text. Meaning you, just like now, you gave it an input and it gave you text back. The text wasn't very good. It couldn't do more than maybe 100, 200 words. And so you had like large companies basically having these tools write ads, because short form ads, you don't need it to write more than a couple hundred words. And I had my first exposure to this, aside from the AI on the analytical side of things and data side, my first exposure to these text generating AI tools came around 2017, 2016. I was shocked because it's weird to put text into a box or even run code with text, and then it gives you text back and it reads like a human wrote it. But a human didn't write it.
Yeah.
So that was my first exposure to it. And then eventually I got into it and I tried. There's a reason I'm a copywriter and not a developer, but I did try to learn code so that in my vain pursuits, I thought maybe I can just code this thing. I can do my own thing. And that's not true. I should not touch code, but I tried it because I was curious. And so I explored it and tried to get my hands on it and tried to have tools that generate text. Before I get into that real quick, there are poets who've been using robots to write poetry for decades, and there are books published. Like if you go to Amazon, you type in robot poems or something, you'll get a ton of books published over the years. So this idea is not new, but that was my first exposure to it. And then eventually around 2019, I started using it more seriously with my client work, where the tools and how well developed and how effective they were, it started going up like a hockey stick in terms of development. Right. Before you know it, 2020 comes around and GPT-3 is made available to the larger public. So there was a GPT-2 and there was a GPT-1. GPT-3 was just the latest version at the time in 2020. And that's when it became a lot easier because now you had a window, you put in text, you clicked submit, and then it gave you text back. A couple months ago in 2022, in November 22, I think, ChatGPT came out, and they're both from the same company, which is OpenAI. But that made it even easier. And so now it's literally what it sounds like. It's a chat box that you put in text and then you get text back. So I've used tools like it, and there are other tools like it, but I've used AI tools for writing text for at least 3 years, maybe even 4 years. Time flies. So around 3-4 years, and not just for partially for fun, but also for client work and the stuff that I do with clients, which is copywriting, conversion rate optimization, and so on.
And now, of course, you're a known expert in this. People are just finding you, and this has been happening for a while now. Can I name some of your clients, people who have brought you in to help their teams? Alex Ramosi, team at Samcart. It's funny because you haven't been advertising that this is a specialty, but I have seen you for a while on social trying to bring some lucid context into the very surface talk about AI in regards to writing and creativity. Give us maybe a case study, a short case study of the first time you used it as a copywriter who needed to complete an ad, and that it struck you that, oh man, I'm better with it than I am without it.
I'll use GPT-3 as an example because it is available to people to use, and so they can see this with their own eyes. You just need to create a free account. And this is in 2020 when it became available. I was doing some strategy and brainstorming around a customer acquisition funnel for a client and for cold traffic. So acquiring customers from cold traffic with some kind of low priced front end product. And as you know, and as I'm sure other copywriters know, the name of the game there is to have, especially when you roll it out, is to test a lot of angles and hooks, not just in ads, but also on a sales page, right? I'd done my research and I was sitting there trying to figure things out and trying to map out what angles could work and what angles are good angles. And then I started using GPT-3 and I gave it prompts around the idea give me 20 unique ideas around whatever the topic was of the product. So I didn't even talk about the product. I just talked about the topic of the product. And then it started spitting out 20 unique ideas. And I thought out of these 20, 9 of them are pretty good. And 5 of those 9 are ideas that I never even thought of. And so I kept prompting it with more questions like it and saying things like for the target market that it's for, what 20 things do they care about? And then for products like it, what are some unique advantages of using a product like this? Give me 30 ideas. And within minutes, I had probably around 50 or so separate unique ideas for angles and hooks, raw copy, so not finished copy, but raw copy. We're talking brainstorming. Right. And it took me 5 minutes to get it, some 50, 60 ideas. And at least 20 of those were really, really good. And most of them, maybe I would have thought of it in a few days doing the work, but it gave me those ideas like that. And they were unique and useful. And I thought I couldn't, it would take me a while to come up with these ideas, but it gave me them in seconds.
Yeah.
From that, you can then take each idea and have GPT-3 expand upon it. I picked out like 20, 21 of them. And I paid for each one. I just asked GPT-3 to expand on this topic. Give me a scenario in which this happens. And then it would give me a scenario in which of a person trying this product and then having good things happen in their life. So you can take each idea and expand upon it. And so I did this for a couple of days. And before I know it, I had probably around a couple hundred ads like ready to be edited because it's raw copy. And then about 50 or so emails. And I settle on like 10 different hooks and angles for the sales page, for like the lead, the headline deck and subheadline and so on. Maybe I would have gotten there with some hard work over a week or two as a copywriter. Like it just takes brain power to think of these things. But I got all that stuff done, drafted and raw copy and ready within a few hours. When I saw that and I realized that I could quote unquote talk to GPT-3 like a human and it would give me human speak back.
Yes.
That's when I go, oh shit.
Right. That's been my experience. The back and forth is the breakthrough for me for now, for how the tool is used. Creation, being a creative, is very often a collaborative endeavor. In Copy Chief, we always said nobody writes alone. But, and I always wanted to add under that, except for the first draft. There is a time when you're kind of sitting there alone. What I've loved about Chat GPT-3 is that it's instantaneous back and forth, and it doesn't take my brain. It does kind of spark ideas what I get back, something unexpected. And then it'll spark a thought, just like if somebody was in the room with me, but I'm still alone and I'm still in my own bubble. And so I don't have another human voice with directing where the thoughts go, right? And I'll find myself asking different questions, going deeper, and it's in real time. And after I started using it like that, like you said, the way you did to develop ideas and say, go deeper on that, or you take one thing it mentioned and you go off on that, just like you would on Google. But now when I search the same prompt into Google and it gives me this like 2D page of all these links that I got to sit and it feels like archaic overnight as far as an experience to interact with information. Yes, exactly. And so for me, that's when I saw this is an immediate aid to creativity. And now, maybe a small caveat here in regards to, because I know one of the concerns, and rightly so, that I've seen in these discussions is about sourcing. So we're talking about the early brainstorming process, Sam and I here in this context. And Sam, I'm assuming after you had all those ideas and formed, now you got to go do the work and research and make sure anything you're saying or claiming or citing is out there. And is that the case, or can we get source citing from
you? You can ask it to give you sources and citations number. So that's one thing you can.
Great.
And I also want people to understand one other thing. GPT-3 and ChatGPT are not the only tools available. And not just for text. So there are research tools that deal with like scientific papers and so on. And Google has a tool called Talk to Books, where literally you ask a question in the search box and it goes into all its books from fiction to science to textbooks. And it gives you answers to whatever you're asking. And when it gives you the answer, it gives you like the direct quote for what is related to what you asked. And it gives you the source, the full source, the author, the title, the date, like you can, whatever the API, but there are standards for citations in academic papers, but it gives you all the information for how you can properly cite a source. So there are two ways to do this. You can either use ChatGPT or GPT-3 and ask it to give you the source, or you can use a tool like Talk to Books, which then you'll just get the source. I use it now and I've used it for research too. Like it started off with brainstorming because creativity, as you said, it's a process, whether it's for writing or something else. It's always a process of back and forth.
Right. And
it's perfect for it. But you can also use it for actual proper research because you can ask it like scientific questions. And it does have, so ChatGPT has some issues around certain facts. Some things it doesn't know or it guesses. It always guesses, but it doesn't quite know exactly how to connect the information. However, if you cross-reference ChatGPT with a tool like Talk to Books from Google, and you just make sure that what ChatGPT says is true, and you can get the answer from Talk to Books in like seconds as well. My research now, I use ChatGPT, Talk to Books, there's Consensus, there's some other tools for research specifically based on artificial intelligence and machine learning that functions in a similar way to ChatGPT. And with those like 4-5 tools together, when you do research that took me days, now it takes me a couple hours because it's faster, it's more direct. And here's the key. When you do get stuff back, you can ask it to explain something to you like it's talking to a 5-year-old, like it's talking to someone with or without a college education. You can ask it, like you can say to ChatGPT, please simplify what you just said. Talk to me like I'm 5. And it'll give you text back as if you're in a simpler language.
Incredible. It's interactive. That's the thing. It's an interactive experience, and you actually get to achieve some flow in your mind, your thoughts wandering, you grabbing onto the ones that seem the most valuable, exploring those further. That's what brainstorming is. And already, and like I said, comparing that to, I mean, back in the day, you'd have to go to the library and hope they had some good books on it and take some notes, right? And now we get to everything at our disposal, Wikipedia, and it's like find something, think, pause, go do a new search. And the thought isn't the same by then, right? So to be able to do it in real time. Okay. Yeah. Amazing.
The best way I can explain it real quick is that it's not just a text generator, it's not just a word processor, it is a thought processor. Because you can process your own thoughts with the help of these tools in real time.
Right. Now let's talk about its capability in your experience to complete an ad for you. How has that evolved?
So you can't go into ChatGPT or GPT-3 and say, write me a Facebook ad for XYZ product. It'll try. It'll give you something that it thinks is, or that it guesses is a Facebook ad. But instead, what you do is you use it to brainstorm angles and hooks, and then you zone in on a few of them and ask it to expand on it. And then you essentially process the output you get in interaction with it. And then what I do, my workflow is essentially start with a tool like ChatGPT, get raw copy or drafted copy or text that I think I can use, take that, and then I use other tools like Jarvis, like CopyLime, like copy.ai. So there are like hundreds of these text tools, by the way, like hundreds of them. And I have a few that I like and that I use all the time, like those 3 that I just mentioned. And I take the raw text and copy that I have on ChatGPT, and I input it and process it through those tools with the different templates that it has to further expand and also to quickly generate variants. So like in CopyLime, I can have CopyLime generate, like, let's say I start with a seed idea, like drafted ad copy that I think this is like a drafted ad copy. I put it into something like CopyLime or Jarvis, and then it'll take that and build upon it and expand upon it and turn my one seed idea into like 30 ads, 20 ads, 40 ads, like whatever it is. Now, one thing I need to mention here too, Jarvis, CopyLime, and other text tools are all or mostly based on GPT-3 via API. So all these text tools, they use much of the same foundation, which is GPT-3 from OpenAI. So in that sense, Jarvis is great. It's very helpful. It has a ton of templates, a ton of like tools you can use, but it is based on GPT-3. And that's not a bad thing. It just is what it is, right? So, but this is why I do them in interaction. I start with GPT-3 and ChatGPT, get a bunch of raw drafted ideas and text that could be easily edited into an ad or an email. And then I go into other tools to fine tune it and to get it more dialed in and to get more variants and more variations. Like, I don't know how it is for you, Kevin, but if I'm writing like 50 ads or 20 ads or 30 ads, not all of them are going to be great, but I don't know which ones are going to be good until I can compare them and see them in front of me. You often have to produce quantity before you can pinpoint the quality. Right. And so ChatGPT and other tools, they help you generate the quantity so that you, with your understanding as a professional and as a skilled copywriter, you can zero in on like the 10 ads out of the 30
Right.
that these are good ads. I can use these. Does that make sense?
100%. It reminds me of comedy writing when they have to write a fresh monologue for, say, Jimmy Fallon that night, right?
Yeah.
They come together and they brainstorm jokes. They write a version of the joke on a card. They put it on the wall. They spend like till lunch doing that. Then you got to leave the room, right? You got to go cold on it. They go eat, they come back, and then they look at the jokes again. And it's so much more obvious within an hour's time and a taco in your belly that, these are easily the best jokes. And then they take and they refine those.
Now, let me tell you where this is going. You can now today take all of the Jimmy Fallon or any comedian's repertoire of recorded sets and everything else. Take all of it. You can run it through what we call AI, and I'll get to this in a second. Like what we call AI is not actually AI, but anyway, side point. You can take all of the content generated by someone like Jimmy Fallon, run it through a language model process through machine learning. You can then have a Jimmy Fallon bot that you can interact with and ask it to give you jokes, new jokes. So it's not just a search engine of like all the past jokes from Jimmy Fallon,
right?
But you can ask it to give you new jokes, and it'll give you new jokes in the style and voice and tone of Jimmy Fallon.
Because it's dissected all that into
it's been trained on it. It's been trained on it. And through machine learning, which is so like what we call AI is not actually, technically speaking, it's not artificial intelligence. It's just what everyone has been calling it for the sake of simplicity and ease. It is really machine learning. But even so, what we think of learning in machine learning is not really how humans learn. I'm not going to get into all the technical stuff, but just so like everyone is clear, we say AI because it's become simple to refer to it as AI, but it's not truly artificial intelligence. It is instead machine learning. But what we call learning is not the same way that robots, quote unquote, learn. So all that being said, you train an algorithm on a data set, and so it learns. And you can even now probably go to a ChatGPT and you can ask it to give you a joke from like, hey, give me a Jimmy Fallon joke, and it'll probably give you one. But you can get better output if you have a dedicated data set and a language model that is based off of Jimmy Fallon, and then you can have it endlessly generate new jokes that never existed before from Jimmy Fallon.
And again, it's this idea of collaboration with the tool.
Yes.
Thinking now, if I'm a comedy writer and I'm hungover and I need jokes by 10 a.m., I'm searching this thing and I'm like, give me Jimmy Fallon jokes, because I'm not going to swipe them, but they're going to get me going and give me, it's actually kind of a clever, because all they do really is they grab the news items of the day. You know, Taylor Swift just did a thing and whoever, they connect them. And those are the bits, right? And so it's the same with big ideas. What is the technique for coming up with ideas? The E.B. Webb.
James Webb Young. Yeah. I have a controversial opinion about him in that book, but I'll leave that to another day.
But the simple process of it makes sense. Is like, you've got a set of things you're aware of and actively pondering here. And now you have a set of facts about your market, your product, your thing, and throw them all in a bag together and shake them up. And you know what I mean? Like, to me, that's the takeaway from that whole little thing.
Yes.
And this is what machine learning allows us to do in real time in dynamic ways that are only going to become more dynamic.
But it's like you said, it's a collaboration. Like AI, these tools, they are our co-writer, collaborator, creative assistant, creative researcher. You have to use it in, like, you as a human, use it. And then what it gives you back, you interact with, and you expand, you contract, you turn around, you flip around, you reverse, you go forward, you go backward, you go up, you go down with it. The point is, you have to go through the process, and you have to like mold it and shape it. Eugene Schwartz, maybe he said, like, we're not copywriters, we're like copy assemblers. We assemble,
right? We
pick things out and connect them. And these tools help you do that.
Yeah. I think it was Benzavanga, but one of those guys. Yeah, one of those guys. Let's talk about where this puts us as an industry, because yes, things are about to change. Some people are very excited and should be. Other people are scared and should be. But I feel like depending on how they react to that fear, it's going to be ended up the best thing for them either way. Because the two camps are, you're good already, you understand copy, you've been obsessing on this for years, you've been in the trenches creating ads, you have emotional understanding of all the facets of creating an ad and then going to test it and then react to the results. Like it's not just a logistical thing, right? It's a roller coaster. And the seasoned pros have been through that, and you get better. Being a true copywriter, you had to learn a lot of scars all over the body and the brain to wear that badge. Then there are other people in the industry who have been fumbling around for years, staying in student mode, never really actually writing and testing anything of their own or with clients. And then you have people who are pure students who are just coming into the industry, don't know much about it. It's easy to quickly learn the buzzwords and get enamored with the culture and then pop around to free Facebook groups, like pretending you know something until people finally call you out and kick you out, right? So I think of those as the three camps. The bottom people are just gone. They won't even be acknowledged. The middle people have a chance to jump ahead if they take this seriously, if they embrace it, if they use it as a tool. But at the same time, if you're not there yet, it's time to focus in and get damn good at writing copy that makes sales. I don't care if that's emails or webinars or VSLs or long form or whatever it is. But your working on it stage just ended. No more working on it. You need to go do it and get good at it.
Exactly. Yes.
Is that how you see it?
Become a pro. That's exactly how I see it. And that's exactly right. It's either doom and gloom or it's unnecessary hype and like people going nuts. And the answer is always somewhere in between, and it's a spectrum and a mix. And like you said, the people who are dilettantes and who've kind of done it a little bit here and there, but never really took it seriously and haven't really improved and always ask for the templates to write a sales page or an email. Templates are good and helpful to get started, but you need to graduate from template use. And so if you've only been joking around and you've been a joker on it, then like you're out. That's because there are going to be plenty of other people who take this on, and just the quality of their stuff will go up and they'll be in demand. So you're out, you're gone. It's just like, and that's not doom and gloom. That's just the reality of it. Is that in any
find something else to do. You weren't that into it.
Exactly. You weren't that into it. You tried it for a couple of years. It's a good thing. You'll find something that you can actually do and dedicate your life to.
Yeah.
And then the people who are kind of questioning, like you have it as an opportunity and there's a choice. The opportunity is there and you can choose to grab it, or you can choose to do something else. Either choice is fine. Either you're not better or worse than whichever one you pick, but the opportunity is there to learn how to use it, become good with it and at it, so that your work can become better as in, if you do work for clients, then it converts more, it converts better. People engage with your copy, and it makes a difference to a company or for yourself. And the copywriters who've been at it for years, who are students of the craft, you work at it every day or weekly, and you really are dedicated and serious, this will just 10x what you're doing if you learn how to use it. It'll just help you become better. Now, in my opinion, AI properly used will help us become more human. It'll help us realize our humanity better and deeper, but it has to be used properly.
Let's dive into that a little bit, because I think that is the bigger picture question we're really talking about. At this juncture of our development, we are at a crossroads, and have been for a few years now, the technology age. And there sort of is a war, I think, going on with that concept. It's shocking to see, as a father of two teens and myself, my own behavior, how easily we give over our sort of freedom of autonomy. I read a story the other day, Sam, about a woman getting booted from the Rockettes Christmas extravaganza. She was a mom taking a Girl Scout troop, including her daughter there. They do facial recognition as part of their security. But they also have a policy that you cannot be in a lawsuit against MSG Entertainment. She was not part of that suit, but she worked for the law firm that is. And so she walks in the door, bleep, bleep, bleep. security comes over, checks her ID. Sorry, ma'am, you can't be here. Your kids can stay, but you got to sit outside in the cold. Fine, like whatever that policy is. But the fact that just about anywhere you go, people know you're there, whether you could have no phone on you, not even if you're volunteering for it. That's a lot of scary shit happening over there. Tell me your thoughts on that, this whole big conundrum we're in here.
It's terrifying and exciting at the same time. So you have totalitarian regimes in the world like North Korea, et cetera, China, who are already using it in a very negative way to suppress their population, right? You're seeing the same tendencies come up here in the West, where you have technology like facial recognition, which is all done by AI algorithm and so on, which it's controversial because there's a lack of legislation and it's new, and you realize that it can be used in controlling and dominating ways and do things in discriminatory ways, like in this instance that you mentioned. And the question is like, do you want to live in a world where there's AI everywhere through facial recognition, tracking and surveillance and control? Is that the world you want to live in, where every move you make is tracked, measured, analyzed, and then you're treated accordingly? The enablement for totalitarianism, for control and surveillance is here. It's possible. And it's happening because I don't know if you saw this, but TSA, when you fly in any airport now in the US, they're in 2023, they're going to roll out facial recognition all over the airport so that for you to even go through security, AI is going to scan your face and decide if it's you or not. So facial recognition is like a first step. And in New York City, the mayor of New York City, he wants to roll it out everywhere so that any street you walk down in New York City, you're going to be tracked and surveilled.
Right.
He says it's for our safety because they can catch criminals this way. Right. But that's always how it begins. That's always how it starts. And that's never where it ends. I'm not interested in living in a world where AI, so to speak, is tracking us, surveilling us, analyzing us, measuring us. And then what that enables is for our behavior and who we are to be discriminated against.
That's right.
Not interested. I'm not going to do that. Instead, what I'm trying to do in the bigger picture is to do my part to change the conversation and to steer my little ship, if you put it that way, toward a future where AI is not our master. It is not who controls us. It is not who is in charge of us, but we are in charge of AI, and we find a proper use for it. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. Just because you can use facial recognition on every single person who walks down the street in, Springfield, Mass, doesn't mean that you should. Because what ends up happening is that it'll enable us and our human rights to be discriminated against like this. It's hard right now for any person, any politician, or any company to truly dominate your life. We allow it to an extent, but it's hard because there are pockets where we are not under their eyes, so to speak, right? We're not like, there are pockets where you have your own private space with you and your family and your friends and whoever. But those pockets are disappearing because of this.
Right.
So the question is, do you want to live? And people go, oh, that'll never happen in the US. Well, it is happening in the US right now. So do you want to live in a world and a society where everything you do is controlled, surveilled, and discriminated against, or do you not? If you don't, then you need to find the proper use of AI.
And I know you think creatives are key components of this.
Yeah.
I look at it like this on the surface level of what you're saying is it's here because people have these motivations.
Yes.
Whatever their motivations are, we could talk forever about theories and all these things, but we already have evidence that it's in play and can be used in discriminatory ways. Okay, let's just accept that and not argue about where that came from or where that's going. However, you can either passively go, oh, what can you do? And it's not about like reading every single term before you click the thing on the app. And they know you're not going to do that. Because just like regimes suppress, creatives fight back, and they spark revolutions, and they build movements. And so if we put this power into the hand, we can't have creatives and thinkers and people going, I'm going to the woods. We need them to use these tools to see how powerful it can make their message and their story. So we're kind of equally armed. Yeah.
Yeah. And politics is downstream from culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to think that whatever happens in Congress then sets the tone for whatever happens in the US, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And to an extent, that's true, or it has been true, but it's been true for too long and is not how the US was structured. So creatives create culture, and culture determines downstream what happens in politics. If enough people say, no, we don't want to have facial recognition and other AI tech to control our lives, if enough people say no, then the politics will change.
Yeah.
But creatives have a unique role to play at this point in history because, like, funny enough, AI is coming for the creative jobs and not the blue collar jobs. Everyone thought that the truck drivers and so on, you'd have self-driving trucks and all the menial labor jobs would be taken. They're still around. AI isn't touching them yet. And maybe they never will. AI, funny enough, is coming for the creative jobs that everyone thought were safe, which means that right now there's a small window of opportunity and a moment where creatives can now take on AI, find its proper use and place where it's not our taskmaster and master in general, but instead, with working with it, we can find the proper place, proper use, and creatives can set the tone for how we, as a society and the Western world especially, interact with AI and what role we allow it to have in our daily lives. We can do it now. I don't know if we can do it in 3 years from now because everything's happening so fast. Like it's insane how much has changed in a year, even. In 2023, which happens like in a couple of days as we record this, things will go even faster. Now is the window of opportunity to take control of AI and turn it into something that's beneficial and not something that controls and dominates us. And creatives can do it.
Beautiful, man. So true. It's such a great reasoning for me. I wanted in this conversation to get beyond all the surface chatter everybody's had about right, wrong, how to use it, does it work? It's here. It's effective. You've been using it for years. You've learned how to use it. Everybody else will learn more quickly now because they're learning from people like you, and the collective will teach each other. But all we know for sure is that GTP4 will be released sometime next year, and it's going to be another big game changer.
It's easy to hype it, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to speculate. But what I will say, people who know, people who are smarter than me, people who do AI stuff every single day and have for decades, they're not worried, but they're going, I don't know what the F is going to happen because this is even beyond what I know. It's beyond what I can see. So smart people who are like AI PhD level, like researchers, are looking at GPT-4 and based on what they know and what they've, and even, so GPT-4 exists and there are people who interact with it right now. It's just happening behind doors, right?
Mm-hmm.
But people who know, people who are smarter than us and who should know are looking at it and going, man, I'm not sure how 2023 will shake out when this comes on because of what it's capable of. And if they're going, shit, I don't know, then I'm going to go, I don't know either. All I can do is say, if you tell me this, and I'm going to go, okay. Like I'm seeing words used like it is like GPT-3 was society level change. GPT-4 is civilizational level change.
Mm.
It's like the printing press. It's like all the other technical innovations that we've seen throughout history, from when fire was discovered, as in made, through the wheel, through the printing press, through the transistor and everything else.
Factory
this
line.
Is another one of those inflection moments.
Yeah.
Which is why now is the window, which is why now, because it's coming for creative work first before the truck driver work.
Right.
If you're a creative writer, artist, musician, whatever, visual artist, you can take control of this. You can, what's the expression? You can take the bull by its horns, wrestle it to the ground. Because if we don't, it's capable of total control and surveillance and domination. The capabilities are there. I'm not doing it. So here I am.
Sam Woods will be in the woods.
Exactly. True to my name.
Awesome, man. Great discussion. I really appreciate you making time. I wanted to rush this out because this is a big topic, but people are, I think it's time for everybody. It's all been happening very fast, but let's stop the chatter and think about this deeper. In the immediacy, decide where you are as a creative, as a copywriter, and say, do I believe I have the reins of what makes a good ad? If you do, embrace this tool immediately and learn all you can about how it can collaborate with you. It'll make you stronger. It'll make you better. As importantly, stay on top of what's coming next. Nobody knows exactly for sure, but as Sam said, they're saying, oh shit. And he's saying,
yep.
And those are the noises people make when they're like, we don't even know what to make of this. And so just know that this is only the beginning. And I love what you said, Sam, that it's really interesting that it's coming for creative work first, because if they can replace that, they can really take the knees out of the idea and the inspiration factory that creates change and movement and balances life and governments and things. And
it can either dehumanize us or it can help us become more fully realized humans.
Beautiful. Perfect.
That's the choice.
Yeah. And so there you go. January 10th, Sam, is your workshop. I should have mentioned this earlier. Sam is doing a workshop to teach what he knows, because again, he's been being flown into major companies who are smart and want to get ahead of this thing. He's been training teams on how to use this. And so he's going to teach us what he knows in a deeper way about how to actually use it to create content, to write copy, to make sales, to collaborate with you creatively. That's on January 10th. Can they buy tickets right up to that? Or is there...
I'm probably going to have to close the doors on like January 6th, 7th or something like that. I haven't decided yet. So to my great surprise, because truly I've been surprised. I've been talking about this for about 2 years. And another guy, Sean Bosler, has been talking about this for a couple of years too. And people just didn't give a shit. Excuse my language. Yeah. Or they tried it and like, this is stupid. Like it's giving me crap back. And I get it. So I thought, well, maybe 10 people will be interested. Maybe 20, if I'm really lucky, will be like, yeah, I want to try this. To my great surprise, a lot of people have been interested. Yeah. So copywriting.ai, if you go there, then there's information, and I'm going to have to close the doors on Friday or Saturday, which is like January 6th or 7th, because it's growing bigger than I had accounted for and had prepared for, as in more people are joining it than I ever thought.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Joey, I mean, his timing is perfect on this, and you're the guy who's been doing this. And so everybody else is going to become overnight experts in this and want to tell you how to, Sam's been doing it. Copywriting.ai. Okay. We'll get that out. I will be there. Sam, I think we'll be having many more discussions about this, but this was a great one, a way to kick it off. And I appreciate you, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Hey, don't forget your goodies. Head over to copychief.com/copychiefradio to get some great free stuff to help you put the things you hear on the show into action for your business. Copychief.com/CCR.